Hello, Louisa. Quite a pleasure to meet you.
Please, call me Lou.
Alright, Lou, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
I'd be happy to. Would you like me to fix you a cup of tea first?
No, I'm good. I'm a coffee man myself.
Let's get started.
When we first meet you, you're working in a local cafe. What was your initial reaction to losing your job?
I was very upset and worried. My job was super important because I had to support both me and my family. My dad had a low-paying job at a furniture factory, but I was reliable for most of the income. Right away, I went job hunting.
I know that family is very important to you. Can you describe your family for us?
Of course. There's my mother, Josie, and my father, Bernard. Then I have my youngest sister, Trina. I love her, but things can be tough because she's going to college, yet I don't have that opportunity. The two of us have a lot of tension. I have a nephew, Thomas. That's Trina's son. Lastly, there's my boyfriend of over 6 years, Patrick.
At the start of your story, you and Patrick had already been having some issues. And these problems continue to grow. What were some of your major objections towards Patrick?
I loved Patrick. I really did. But he changed. When I first fell for him, he had been working in sales and his favorite things were beer, candy bars, and talking about sports. Recently, he's transformed into Marathon Man. All he cares about is running and being fit. He completely ignores what I do or where I want to be.
So you needed a job, correct?
Yes.
Why did you choose this job and what kind of job is it?
I guess it was appealing because it didn't really require many qualifications. In the end, what they were really looking for was a fun and charismatic personality over anything else. The job was to take care of Will Trainer, a man who, while once successful and active, became paralyzed because of an incident with a motorcycle.
Upon meeting Will, what was your first impression?
He seemed incredibly cruel. In fact, when I first met him, he decided to scream out in pain as a joke to startle me. Luckily, his nurse, Nathan, explained to me that he was just trying to freak me out. Will wouldn't talk to me, and when he did, he spoke rather obnoxiously. That is, until I stood up for myself. Bit by bit, he spoke to me more and more. He even asked me about my interests, and we'd have nice and friendly conversations. We started becoming more like friends and less like acquaintances.
From what I understand, while you were getting closer to Will, you heard a conversation between his family, between Georgina, his sister, and his mother, Camilla. Can you describe to us what you heard during this conversation?
I learned that I was hired after Will's attempted suicide. He and his mother made a deal in which he agreed to live for 6 months, and then she let him end his life through an assisted suicide program called Dignitas, based in Switzerland. Really, I was hired to convince Will that life is worth living. My job was suddenly way more important than just checking in on him like I thought it was.
So, what did you do?
I was not comfortable with being part of Camilla's plan. I left a note of resignation on the kitchen table, and when Mrs. Trina came to ask me why I quit, I told her the truth. She begged me to stay, saying I might be Will's last chance. After she left, I asked my sister Trina for help.
And if I'm correct, Trina was the only family member you talked to about this. What did she say?
She was one heck of a girl. She said that the Trinas had a lot of money and Will has a whole lot of insurance. We devised a bunch of ways that I could change Will's mind. She suggests that I try to get him to go out again, and then the two of us can go on fun adventures. Adventures so excited that he'd want to live. We hoped that by the end he'd even be willing to go abroad on a trip.
So, you followed Trina's advice. What was you and Will's and Nathan's first outing?
We went to the horse races. Unfortunately, it didn't go too well. Will was grumpy the whole day and was upset with me for making decisions for him instead of asking him first if horse racing was something that would even appeal to him.
Sorry that excursion didn't go as well as you planned. But it's a comfortable vibe, and from what I understand, did not last too long after that. What was your next outing?
Well, Will had tickets to see an orchestra, and so we went. I even wore my fancy red dress. The music was just wonderful, and seeing Will outside the house and being happy about it, that was the best part. The most moving part of the whole night is when we had returned home and sitting in the car. I was just about to get out when he stopped me. He said, I don't want to go in just yet. I just want to be a man who has been to a concert with a girl in a red dress.
Okay. So, time has passed. You and Will become quite close. I understand that you frequently try to get each other to try new things and face your fears. He even got you to take a tattoo.
Yeah, Bumblebee.
Your friendship reached an all-time high closeness when you went to meet his ex-girlfriend Alicia's wedding. What was that like?
Well, the wedding with him was extraordinary. Will handled himself so well whenever he talked to the guests. He was friendly and loose and not obnoxious at all. We were both so happy and comfortable to be there. The best part of the night is I finally convinced Will to go on a trip with me. I was hoping that this would be the thing that would change his suicidal mindset.
Can't forget Patrick. What was he like during this trip?
He wasn't too happy about all the time Will and I had been spending together, but luckily he did forgive me. Well, at least he forgave me at first, but then when he realized that this trip wasn't a typical business trip, the one I had planned involved hot tubs at night and lots of other fun activities. Well, let's just say that that's where the forgiveness ended. We were done.
Where'd you guys go? What was the final destination?
Glad you asked. Originally, we were going to go to California. There, we would bungee jump, snorkel, swim with dolphins, an array of exciting and fun activities. Unfortunately, Will got a very scary infection. The doctors decided it was not safe for him to participate in all of these activities. So we weren't able to go to California. But instead, we went to Mauritius, a small and beautiful island.
How did this trip change you and Will's relationship?
Well, I think Will and I had been liking each other for quite a while. During this trip, this became really apparent. Suddenly, I was no longer his caretaker or even just his friend. I loved him. We kissed and I was so happy. And I was convinced my plan had worked. I thought for sure that he had changed his mind. But then he dropped the bomb on me. He told me that he was going to follow through with Dignitas. Even though I was willing to be with him and stay with him, I wasn't enough for him to want to continue his sorry life. I suddenly hated him for being so selfish, and I made it clear too.
Will hoped and wished that you would go to Switzerland with him and be there when he died. But you refused at first. What ended up happening?
I decided to go. Mrs. Trainer organized a plane ride to Switzerland, and I was able to say a proper goodbye to Will. It was so hard watching the person I love most want to end his life so badly. We talked a bit and we expressed our love for each other. Then I left the room and he left the world. Just like that. So, there's my story of heartbreak, love, and growth.
Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you.